Well, we've been on a roll working on project cars and going fast. Today's video is about something a little bit more reliable. I'm finally putting the front splitter on the CTSV and tuning it up because we've got some sort of weird clunking going on in the front. Let's dig right in. You're scared, cameraman? You're afraid? I wasn't gonna hit you.
It's hot out.
These conditions, they're horrible. You could drink all the water in my headlight if you get thirsty. First step is to wear proper shoe attire while you are in a working environment. No flip-flops, ladies and gentlemen. Second step is to jack the car up and put nice little jack stands on each side to prevent the car from falling upon the jack. Not even doing full strokes. What we chose to do is put two jack points behind the tires so that way we have full access to the whole front of the car. We're also not getting under the car, so I'm not worried about leaving the jack up as well. So one of the nice parts about using jack stands is you now have a free jack to stabilize and hold up the tray. Not that it's heavy, it's very light, but it's gonna let us see where our obstacles are at. I'm gonna mount the tray to the holes where the old under tray was at. Be prepared to measure 17 times and cut once and still be wrong, but you can see that the important part is the outside part. So if you have a couple blemishes or anything underneath there, I personally wouldn't be too worried. So we got a very lucky break from having this mounted to the car previously, is that the screws that were holding on the previous under tray, which were also in the way, had happened to make a mark on the expel layer that we had put on this in the past. This message is for anybody that actually goes to do this on their own CTSV. I strongly recommend taking off the existing under tray, but it's too thick, the bolts just get in the way. That is simply the two under tray bolts holding this whole thing up. I would also not cut the bottom ugly little piece off the bumper. Instead, I would use spacers for the bolts that we're about to put in next. So the very first thing you're gonna notice about a CTSV, they call it a luxury car, and it lives up to its name in modern respects. It is like 90% plastic held on to plastic. So you're gonna see things that are all worn out, like weird ass connectors that are like one-time use, honestly. Like truly expect to be replacing some of this crap. Because they get brittle. You know, fingers break off. One of my least favorite things about this car is what goes on over here, which makes you almost not want to install that splitter. You push these pins in and it locks into another piece of plastic inside the fender, and then you just secure it with this 110 mil. If you do the front splitter wrong, this whole assembly is under pressure and you create this huge gap. Give me a screw, give me like a good screw. Give me something there, manly. Like these are just like cheap. This is a joke in terms of being an automotive enthusiast. The point is that you can ratchet on a bolt all day long and have no problems. But these are pieces of scum. You're gonna deal with your own personal hell with this. I ended up doing tons of measurements in the past, and so I'm roughly estimating that this will be in line right here where it was before. There we go. Okay, so we've got the front struts put back on. We've got a lot of the main bolts all bolted back on. And we've left the rear two bolts for the push pops. We're gonna use push pops to our advantage. Kind of like set in place, because we got shit to hang on. Like we gotta hook the air duct. This is not my day. One of my least favorite parts of this car is this. If you have a lot of pressure, you can see it bending, and that's what I had last time. I made the mistake of of trying to keep the stock under tray, and I put way too much pressure on this weird plasticky connection there. So if you have any sort of pressure, it's going to pull these two apart and create a really nasty looking seam. It's right down here. Air duct. There. Simply squeeze the bottom piece in and then push that in to lock it in. I agree with you. Just try not to create. This is a good example of a do-it-yourselfer doing a, I'm not even gonna give myself a grade, on getting the front splitter all set up. It's solid, it's connected to the actual core points on the car, and without the existing under tray, it's pretty flush with the car, and I'm very happy. So let's roll it out of the garage, obviously get it up to 200 miles an hour and make sure it stays on the car. Feels pretty solid. Everything's looking good. I think we got a nice and solid front splitter.